So it is that time of year again where we got new Pokemon games. I decided to go with Violet this time, and I had my excitement kind of taken away when I saw some videos about how the performance is, and I knew that there would be maybe some performance issues, but not like the ones I saw on Twitter and YouTube. Now I will say my experience was not as bad as some of the other videos out there, but it could change when I put more time into the game. I did play for a little over an hour or so, maybe a couple hours so far. I did do a few things, and I have seen a few things, but nothing as game breaking as other players. I haven't had the game crash on me yet, which is a good thing, and I did have the day one patch. So what I want to do here is talk about some of the things the game does poorly, and then some of the things that the game does not so bad. But of course, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. I don't know if they can make any updates to the game to make it run a lot better than it does now. I think honestly that Nintendo needs to either make a stronger console, which I've been saying for a while, and other people are saying it now. I don't want to hear anyone defend Nintendo on this one. Do not give me that bullshit about Nintendo and defending them, because this is unacceptable. And whether it's Nintendo or Game Freak, it's honestly both in my opinion. I think it's Nintendo's fault for not making a stronger console, as well as not giving Game Freak enough time to, make this game as great as it can be. I don't think Game Freak is capable of handling a project like this. I think they bit off more than they can chew on this one, and people have been saying that maybe it's time for the franchise to go to a different developing team, and in my opinion, I think it should go to a different console. Whether Nintendo makes a much more stronger console, or it goes to the third-party consoles, PlayStation and Xbox. Now, before you try to say, well, this game has pop-ins, etc., how is it going to differ from games like Sonic and this and that? Some people may give it an excuse, and some people may not give it an excuse. Here's what I'm going to say. The only excuse that this game gets for its poor performance is the fact that it is on Switch, okay? A game like Sonic Frontiers is on next-gen consoles, and that is embarrassing to see a game on next-gen having those many problems with pop-ins, okay? But, like I said, and other people are saying it's time for a change, and I'm tired of Game Freak using their Pokemon games to test something new and then expand on it in the next game. Like Arceus was the test for the open world, semi-open world with Pokemon in the wild. Now they implemented it into this one, and honestly the performance is abysmal in this one. I will say the wild Pokemon in the area is cool, but I will get to that in the positive section. So to start with the negatives, here's the things that the game does wrong, okay? Keeping it on Switch, as I just said already, it needs to go to a stronger console. Nintendo needs to make a new one, Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever they call it, and if not that, go to Sony and Microsoft. I keep hearing people say Nintendo does have the resources and the means to make a 4K console. That's not the case here. It's not that it has to be a 4K console. It has to be a stronger console that can handle these games. And I made this point many times before. I'm going to make it again here in this video. Capcom has told Nintendo, we want to make better games for your console that can run better, look better, much more expansive games, but we need you to make a stronger console that has more available RAM that we can use and work with to make those kind of games. And Nintendo said, no, this is what we got, deal with it. Same thing with trying to do a refund on a game from the eShop. Nope, this is our policy, deal with it. So Nintendo is shitty if you think about it. Don't defend it for any way. Yes, they are shitty. The N64 upgrade is a shitty price. The console is kind of shitty now. It's old, it's outdated. It was outdated hardware when it released. Now it's even more outdated. So anyway, keeping it on Switch, that's a problem. Okay, the frame rate's pretty bad in certain areas. There are some areas that are separated from the open world, like the main city where the school is its own hub area, and there's poor performance in that one. And then when you leave through the doors to go into the open world, you will see poor performance in the open world. Your character will move a bit slower at times. You will see a lot of pop-ins, a lot of weird lighting effects. Like there's a wall that I was at for a wild battle, and there was like a shadow on the wall, then it went to like bright sunlight and then back to the shadow. So you will see those kind of issues with the frame rate and the textures. There is a lot of pop-ins. Characters will pop in and disappear. There was a building that I was approaching, and the lighting was gone on the building, and as I moved a bit more, the light came onto the building. So you will see that. A personal problem for me, because there is no voiceovers in the game, you have to read a lot of text, and sometimes it takes too long to get through that section that you just want to go into the next gameplay mode. You want to go back into the wild and catch Pokemon or battle trainers or go into the next story mission. But there's so much reading in the text, and the characters are, despite not having voiceovers, they're cringy, and the text is kind of cringy, and the animations are cringy, and that's Pokemon for you. It's classic Pokemon, I get it. But at this point, we should be seeing Pokemon games with full voiceover cutscenes. Even to the point where Pikachu in previous games would say Pikachu when you used him or her. It was the only Pokemon in all the games for the past few years that would say its name. Now it doesn't even say its name no more. They took out the Pikachu name, and I think that we could get some voiceover in the game. The other Switch games have it. Bayonetta, Monster Hunter has some form of voiceovers in there and cutscenes. So I think Pokemon can do it, but they need the resources. I think either Game Freak needs to step their game up, or it needs to go to somebody else. Another thing, when you do play early on and you go to the Pokemon Center, Nurse Joy will constantly give you a new tip to learn. Eventually it will stop after you get all the tips from her, but it was annoying in the beginning, just always having to skip through more extra stuff that I don't want to skip through. I want to heal my Pokemon, have her say hope to see you again, and go into the next beat. The map has some problems and a couple of positives, maybe one positive, but I'll get into that later. The map, here's the problem. It zooms in pretty closely, and you got to move around the map to find your next destination. It won't always put the map in the in the scale of like north, east, south, and west. You have to constantly turn the map to be in that format to know where you're next, to have a better idea of what the map is and where you are. When you try to zoom out into the map to see a larger area, it'll instead zoom out to the entire map where you can't interact with it, and you have to zoom in to try to interact with those locations. You can try to zoom in to a different location on the map that you're not located at, but guess what? It'll just zoom into where you are, and you have to then zoom out a little bit again, try to get to another spot, and then choose the destination of where you want to go. And like I said, the map is horrible. The map is huge. It's a huge map that you can explore, but the map controls and the way it functions is bad. It needs to be fixed. Now, I will say one positive is when you do select a destination on your map, your character will then face in the direction of where you need to go for that destination. That is cool. I will give them that. Terrestrializing, the new phenomenon of this game, is stupid and ugly. I never liked it from the beginning. I understand the competitive side of it, like for example, maybe minor spoiler here, the first gym battle is a bug type gym, and her last Pokemon is a Teddiursa with a bug type Terrestrialize. And it was cool to see her using a Fury Cutter to knock out my team, but it's still ugly and kind of stupid. There was a joke where like Eevee could Terrestrialize and have the type of water or fire or electric, just like having an Eevee and using a water stone or a fire stone or a electric stone to get Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. So it's really stupid. They should have kept, in my opinion, they should have kept Mega Evolution or maybe Dynamax and Gigantamax. For me, Mega Evolution was my favorite. Some of those designs were really, really cool. I think Gengar had a really cool Mega Evolution. Blaziken, Sceptile, Swampert, Charizard X was really cool. Blastoise had a cool Mega Evolution. Mewtwo X Mega was pretty cool. Beedrill had a cool one. Some of them were kind of stupid, but some were really cool. I would love to see more Pokemon get Mega Evolutions, especially since the starters from X and Y never got a Mega Evolution for a game that introduced Mega Evolution. That was insane. Especially because Sword and Shield, they gave a Gigantamax to those starters. So I would love to see more Mega Evolutions, or just bring back the Gigantamax and the Dynamax, one of those two. I did try a raid battle. I did it with the CPU players. It's really trippy and weird. The animation to capture the Pokemon when you beat it was cool. Other than that, it's a raid battle. You know what you're getting out of it, and it's terrestrializing, so it's stupid. Last thing I want to talk about that was poorly done is when you interact with items in the map or different people. It had a problem trying to like pinpoint that you're on the right spot to interact with those things. Like in the beginning, minor spoiler maybe, but very beginning when you choose your starter, you have to actually walk down the road with the 3 starters following you, and you can interact with them and they'll do like a cheer or something. But the problem was I kept trying to interact with one of the starters and it kept interacting with the other starter, over and over again. It wouldn't acknowledge that I was not talking to the grass one. I was trying to talk to the water one. And then you go get an item in the wild. You'll see Pokeballs in the wild, and it's an item you can find. You'll press A on it, and it's like you're not on the right spot. You have to move a bit to press A on it. That is a problem with trying to pinpoint different items and where you are to interact with something. So that's most of the bad things here. I haven't seen that many crashes. My game hasn't crashed yet, and I haven't seen super slowdowns, but I've seen some slowdowns here and there. So there might be more wrong with the game that I haven't seen yet. I did hear playing online makes the game even worse. So I haven't tried it yet. I'm waiting for the guys to go get the game, and then we can try it at some point. Here's what I think the game does right, and I think the game needs to be fixed to make these things even better. Okay, when you are in a wild Pokemon battle or a trainer battle in the wild, and you see an item in the background before the battle that you were gonna grab, it's still gonna be in view during the battle. Or if there was a wild Pokemon running around, they will still be in the background during the battle, and they won't just be like a still image. They will actually move around a bit. So the world is kind of still moving in the background while you're in a Pokemon battle. That was pretty cool. I think that's great. The open world, we finally got a full open world Pokemon game. I just hate that is in this state on this console, but it's full open world. That's pretty cool. The auto battles, yes, you can take your lead Pokemon, send them out, and they will follow you, and you can send them to battle a Pokemon automatically, and it's very quick. You'll take some damage, but you'll do training a lot easier. You will gain XP. It's a quicker way to train your Pokemon, and I think it works good for the most part. It could be better, of course, but it is pretty cool having your Pokemon follow you around in battle. I do hope that for certain Pokemon that I did see in the game, I want them to look great when I'm doing that. I want to be able to walk around with this kind of Pokemon and do those cool things. There is a full day and night cycle. It doesn't follow the real time. It's on its own 24-hour cycle, so that's pretty cool. Trainer battles, they will not automatically battle you when you walk past them. Finally, I always hated that. I wanted to avoid certain battles and keep it going, but you always got stopped. This time you do have an option to battle them or not. If you do see that the trainer you're approaching has a black text box, that means that they have a much stronger team than you have, and you probably won't win. So that way it alerts you, hey, you may not win this battle right now, come back when you are stronger. I do like that feature. I think it's great that you can choose when you want to battle and who you want to battle. That is pretty awesome. Next thing really is just there's a lot of Pokemon, a lot of different ones. I caught some new ones that are, brand new ones for this region, and some of my favorites from the past. And I can't wait to see what other ones are out there. I have seen a new evolution for a certain older Pokemon who has 2 different evolutions based on the whole past and future thing of Scarlet and Violet. I think that's cool. I don't know what other Pokemon will have that evolution choice, but I can't wait to see what comes out from there as well. Last thing that's positive, honestly, is it's Pokemon. You know what you're getting out of it. As I said earlier, I didn't see any slowdowns that's as bad as other videos out there. I have seen some slowdowns, maybe going around 20 frames, maybe. And it'll last for a few seconds, and it'll keep going. I think the worst problems here is the pop-ins and the textures that come in and out. Other than that, the battles can be a bit slow. Going from like one Pokemon to the next Pokemon takes a few extra seconds, or when you capture a Pokemon and it shows you their data and goes into the Pokedex, that takes a few extra seconds as well. In battles, you do get full control of the camera. If you're in most battles, I think certain battles like with a key character or like Team Star, you don't get control of the camera. And the battles that you do get control of the camera does need some work. It can be a pain in the ass sometimes to maneuver the camera and see what exactly is going on in the battle. In the open world, you can press the R3 stick to make the camera zoom out a little bit, but even in the open world, the camera moves pretty stiff and slow, so it does need some work. I don't know how much more can be done with updates to make this game run a lot better, but if something can be done, we may not see that till maybe next year, February, March, hopefully sooner. More patches, get this game running a lot smoother, fix the textures, pop-ins, the animations. But again, I think it comes down to software and hardware trying to work hand in hand, and the Switch just can't run it. I have heard people say handheld runs better because it's not trying to blow everything up into a TV screen. I don't play handheld. I don't, and in that point, the OLED model doesn't do shit for it anyway, because the OLED is just a screen upgrade. It's not a performance upgrade. So there is that issue. You will see some glitches and bugs here and there. And I made the note to like always save as constantly as I can. There is an autosave feature if you want to keep it on, but I save as often as I can just to make sure that I don't lose any data from a possible crash. I did encounter my first shiny Pokemon that was pretty cool, and you'll see them in the wild. So that is cool. Other than that, there is not much else to say so far. There is quite a bit of story in the game. I think that it is going to be hard to get through the game with all those performance issues, but it is playable. It is playable. I don't recommend buying the double pack like some people do. I actually know someone who I told him, look, instead of buying the double pack right now, because you paid for it anyway in the pre-order, I told him, cancel the pre-order, get your money back, and that way you can buy one of them and see how it is, and then you get your money for the other game. Yes, GameStop does allow you a return within 48 hours, but that return is store credit only, not cash or debit or whatever you use. So if he has to return both games, guess what? That's $120 in store credit that you could have had in cash, or at least $60 in cash. But you know, to each their own. Whatever. I think that if you buy the game now, just lower your expectations. It is still playable. It can still run, and hopefully it gets better with time. But that's all I can really say about the game. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I am working hard to get more videos out. I was gonna do a God of War review, but I still haven't beaten the game. I was gonna do a Bayonetta 3 review, still haven't beaten that game. So many games are releasing in this time frame, because next we got that stupid Need for Speed game, and then Callisto Protocol, and then January is Dead Space Remake and Forspoken. So I may not get to do the reviews I want to do for these games, so I might just do like a holiday or game of the year, end of the year, or whatever type of thing. I don't know. But yeah, if you get Pokemon, just lower your expectations, be ready for the performance, and I'll see you guys in the next one.